Guys, welcome back from Pax Europiana, this time here again from Tours. Obviously, it's a bit hot in the sunset talks, yeah. In the winter in Schönbrunn it was a bit easier, the climatic situation. Anyhow, it's very beautiful here. Let me show you all this beautiful sunset as well, that you are compensated, and hopefully it's interesting for you to listen to my views about corruption and collusion. I made one video already, but where's the really big problem? It's also very clearly on the European side. We in the European Union, we have not created the institutions, yeah? The European FBI, the powerful straight onwards, the DG competition with all the line authorities. I know it's a bit complicated, this issue, but what I want to say is you need a real European Union, like a state, like the United States of America, where the central authorities have the power to crack down on regional collusion networks, yeah, on regional corruption networks. It's so important, yeah. This must be done. We have the situation from Slovakia to Malta to Bulgaria, everywhere, even in Austria today is still not perfect, because this internal collusion is not so much supervised. We have often very uncompetitive behavior. In Slovakia and everywhere, it's about 6 families, maybe 8 families who really control the economy together with the prime minister, and then you have 60 families who control most of the country. And that's the number. 6 means, 6 is always a 6 and 7, 8, doesn't matter. In every country it can be a bit different. But a management level of a prime minister. For example, Rama, he has his 6, 7 oligarchs. He manages the country quite well. He can call them, they call him. One manages the petrol, one manages the retail sector, and so it goes. Of course, they all manage everything a bit, but more or less it works like this, because that's a manageable group. And then you have this kind of 60 who are also important stakeholders in the various districts, and they are in the various markets, and so that's the anti-competitive nature of small controlled, easy to control economies. And we have it in Malta, we have it in the Slovak Republic, we have it in Bulgaria, Romania, we have it not so much in Poland and not so much in the Baltics. They are like really amazing, but everywhere else we have it. And the only way to, and also in Austria it's still a lot of collusion and corruption. The only way is the European level, above it, and more power. This we have to have. Anyhow, I think everybody understands the point. I want to make it very clear, when you as a normal person come to Albania, you meet no corruption. There is no corruption for you in Albania. You don't have to, you buy just the normal services, nobody asks you for bakshish, it's not like that, yeah. The problem is when you go a bit deeper and you want to invest, yeah? When you want something from the institutions. Yeah? And it's also not that they run around with demands for money. No, 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 no. They say, they lean back and they say, okay, you invest, good. You want something from us later. You want a construction permit, you want an environmental permit, you want a kind of operation permit, you want a permit to do something, yeah? With your investment. Yeah? And then basically all your friends are gone. You are alone. Yes, and then what you do then? You have started to invest, you have started to build whatever, you invested in an apartment, you want to rent it out, that goes informally more or less, yeah. There's not so strict like in Croatia, but when you can, for bigger things, you have bought land, you want to build something, or you want to do a hydropower plant, or you want to operate something else, whatever you want to do, then you need, of course, some form of governmental approval. And then everybody leans back and says, okay. Even now I heard, when you want to sell an apartment, you have bought an apartment, you want to sell it, you want to repatriate the money, and then, for example, now Albania implements the money laundering directive. That's very good, it's very good. But how it works ultimately is that when you then want to repatriate, you have then to prove that it's not money laundering. There's an agency against money laundering, and they don't give the approval. So what do you do? Yes. What you do when you want to get your money out of the country? You pay. And so it goes. Or when you want to have your apartment registered in the land register. Of course it's now working, it's good, you can do it, but it doesn't work, you don't get it, yeah? What do you do? Then you are a bit, you're a bit worried, yeah? You try to do it, and then you pay. And exactly it works in all the sectors like this, yeah? Because then the non-decision, it's a silent invitation for corruption. Because, for example, inside the European Union, you have then certain delays where the administrative action has to happen according to proportionality and the reciprocity and, the good governance rules. Under 30 days, something should happen. 2 months deadline, things should happen. Yes, they put you deadlines, they fulfill it as well, and that's the task of administration in the European Union. Everywhere it happens, good or bad. But for example, here, then it doesn't happen. Yeah? And they say, oh, we don't have the capacity for environmental license for a hydropower plant. Yeah? It's very complicated. You want us to take the responsibility to issue it fast? Okay, that's. Then they lift on. And what you do then when you have already the pressure of your investors, when your board is calling you, when everything is like that, And of course, when you have invested, you are stuck. And then also you have a certain kind of return of investment requirements. Yeah? You have not 20 years to wait. Yeah? You want to have this thing operational, you want to have it done. And that is also the others know on the other side, on the government side. And then they say, yeah, we cannot do it, it's impossible. We don't have the capacity, we don't know what to do. We really would like to do it, but now we are on holiday. And so it works. And then you're ultimately in the double bind. Yeah? If when you don't want it, what you do? And there's 100 other such things. Once you have engaged financially, then of course, you are like married to a country. And that's why everybody is so careful, and that's why so little investment is happening as well. There's some investment, in private property, yes, in already built apartments or in gated communities, because that's a rational thing to do, because there you are basically the business partner of the developer. He has managed the government relations, so he is anyhow looking to sell and to share and to profit from it. So you are basically buying in an organized community, and the investor who sells you the apartment is the one who has the governmental relations to handle. And so you can do that easily. And that's also what's happening. The question is the bigger things. And in the bigger things, of course, we are stuck in the last decade, because we have not been serious with enlargement and the countries have not been serious with reforms. So this kind of double bind and this kind of double being stuck, we are dancing together but not really seriously, is the result of our fake policy and our wrong policy towards the Balkans. And we have to change it. We have to change it in order to also have direct access to the government's level, because the EU is a supranational entity. You have access, you have rights as an investor in Croatia, in Greece, in Bulgaria. Of course, maybe there's also many issues there, and there's a lot of things we in the EU have to improve institutionally to have more access directly down as well on the Bulgarian authorities and on the Maltese authorities. I made that very clear. It's not that we are perfect, but outside we are very far from perfect. Yeah? And we had the courage before the big financial crisis, and we lost it a bit, because then Russia was rising, China was rising. We were a little bit, stuck in this decade of, fear and transition, and we lost the decade, and the lost decade we lost. Yeah, actually, how can I say it in a rhyme? It's a bit of a mess, and we have to get out of it. And corruption is, of course, a big issue, but we shouldn't stamp this country and stamp other countries. They are the most corrupt. They are exactly the same corruption level like the other countries. There's a little difference, and it's about the same that there was in Bulgaria and Romania before they joined. Yeah? It's always the question, do you have the additional governance structure above it, so the politicians are afraid and the administration can somehow put their decisions on the rule of law, because then it exists, yeah? And then you can also refer, no, I cannot do it because of Brussels, and so on and so on, and so everything makes much more sense. And then also the investment level comes up, and then countries develop like Bulgaria and Romania have developed like Croatia, and like all these countries here will develop as well. Of course not like in a magic wand, yeah? It's not like that, but they have the beauty, they have the strategic location, they have obviously people who have been trained in Italy, Greece and in Germany and in Austria already, and there is of course the normal situation of the normal development possible. Yeah? And if we do another decade of this lost in translation, accusing each other, the Albanians and others, the government, Rama is not tired, not shying away of accusing us of being useless, basically, and we accuse him and his government